Let's talk about grips. Almost like a judo grip, you can get a collar and a sleeve. We call this a sleeve, right? I'm only on my second coffee, so. Now, the one thing you'll notice is I'm not using my thumb. I'm always using just my four fingers. So for example, when I come in here, I may use my thumb to get the grip, and what I'm doing is I'm rolling the collar into my four fingers. Because for example here, pull away from me. Right? Pull it. Pull it in. Right? It's different. My four fingers. This is one of the things that people will teach you, which is that really, it's really not even the four fingers. I talk about, like, for example, on God we have this thing, right? In praying mantis you have this, right? Really, the last three fingers are the power. Sometimes this is like that home God thing. I'll get in here, and you'll notice I'm not doing this, I'm doing this. And this is an extra anchor. But the controlling is that three fingers. You feel it, right? It's the same, like I said, when I do mantis, I'm doing this. Right? This is actually not as strong as this, believe it or not. So, I can get this kind of grip. When we reach into the collar, same thing. The thumb is not strong, so I never want to do something like this. I always want to do something like this. Right? So I can have this grip, I can have this grip, which is, we call these doors or gates in Jiao. So I can have one on each gate, I can have two on one gate, right? Or I can have one and one here, but left leg forward. Right? So now when I do this, he puts his hands down so you can see it, but we should never drill like this because then you get used to fighting with your hands down. So exactly, you have your hands up, I have my hands up, and you can get grip. You try to get grip, right? So the basic of wrestling comes down to I'm either pulling you or pushing you, right? Now, you never want to get pulled so that your head comes past your hips. You never want to get pushed so your head is back behind your hips. So when he's pulling me, people have a tendency to do this to fight. But remember, if I pull too far back and he switches from a pull to a push, then I'm off. So this is, in Tai Chi they talk about this a lot, which is your head, your shoulders, and your hips being elevated so it's one line. So he can push me, he can pull me, he can push me, he can pull me, and I'm trying to keep my head up, my shoulders up, and my hips up in one line. Because as soon as I do this, and if I ever do this, then I'm falling over in the shower. Now, the irony is with the footwork, people think like if I drop my heels, I'm rooted and strong, but what really happens if you drop your heels, as he pushes, is you get rolled back on your heels, and you get pulled off. So I'm still kind of on the balls of my feet. So when he pushes me, I don't have my heels down. And actually, those of you who've done traditional Kung Fu with me know, it's not really the ball of the foot, it's a little behind the ball of the foot that we're on. Right? It's more like here than here. This is really the ball of the foot, but really more it's here as a pivot point. So, at the very beginning, we're going to start with just what he was doing. Push me, pull me, pull me, pull me, push me, right? And try not to get too off balance by doing that. Right? In other words, when he pushes me, right? But by the same token, when he pushes me, I don't want to do this, because then when he switches to pull, I'm off balance. All right? So, this is what we're going to do, push and pull for like a minute or two, and then we'll add the footwork, and then we'll talk about the up balancing. This right now is just push and pull, and it's just gripping, and also here, getting used to gripping. Also, when we do striking, and I talk about it without the gloves, a lot of schools teach this, we teach this. Thumb on top. So, you could be left side forward, you could be right side forward, right? Traditionally, a lot of Chinese martial arts were right side forward. I tell people, like, we're not living in China during the Qing dynasty, we're living in New York City, right? And we're living in the United States, and we're living in an era where there's a lot of boxing, a lot of kickboxing, a lot of MMA stuff. So it's just generally better in life, in my experience, to have the left leg forward, because you're going to be dealing with a lot of strikers that are going to be left side forward, and you want to be working with those kind of people as opposed to when you do striking, you're forward, right? We go forward like this, and we go back like this. We shuffle. We don't constantly change our feet. even though this is the way you walk down the street. The more you switch at your feet, the harder it is to know where your feet are, and you get caught in those transitions. Whereas if you're here, you go forward and you go back. And again, relatively light on the feet. I'm not, that rooted thing is a misunderstanding. Up again like this, we can coordinate the pushing and the pulling with our feet. So obviously I'm not going backwards while I'm pushing, I'm going forward when I'm pushing. And when I'm pulling, I don't go forward and pull, I go back and pull. And everything is a 1, 2, 1, 2, yeah, we're dancing. So, you can mix it up. In other words, I can go forward to push you and then pull you, or I can pull you and then push you. But we're still getting that push, pull, 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 push, push, pull, back and forth thing, but using our footwork. Right now, we're doing just forward shuffle and back shuffle. We're doing what we call the north and south line, which is the simplest and most basic. And later I'll tell you the one we don't really want to use, but we have some uses for it. So let's just get used to that. Again, and again, you can have this grip, you can have this grip, you can have this grip. Later I'm going to talk about grips where you don't need the jacket, but let's just start with this, okay?